Or it's like if you made the wife mad, you get 6 choices of a couch to sleep on since you get kicked out of the bedroom.
Casino trip, full of chips. Wanna flip, double it.
Welcome to the Full of Chips podcast, the only chips you'll never lose, where the stakes are high, the takes are bold, and the conversations are always full of chips. With your hosts, Chris the Dice Degen and Craig from Old Bay Craps, you're tuned in to Full of Chips, the podcast where we dive into our experiences gambling and stories straight from the casino floor. Whether you're a seasoned pro at the craps table or just curious what the buzz is about, you're in the right place. Each week, we break down the games, talk to the experts, and bring you tips that could tilt the odds in your favor. So grab your lucky charm, stack your chips, and let's roll into today's episode. What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 34 of the Full of Chips podcast, the only chips you will never lose, with your hosts, Chris the Dice Degen and Craig from Old Bay Craps. Craig, how are we today?
We feel like shit. The allergy bug, for whatever reason, I think this happens. We already had a what the fuck or a mini fuck on the weather, but what the fuck is it with the 30 to 40 degree swing in temperature? Because every time that happens, I get fucked up with allergies. And I can't describe to you, Chris, earlier today, because I texted my wife at the time, not only was I sneezing every like 4 minutes, you know that twitch you get, but then you don't sneeze, but it still twitches? I had that in my eyeballs. I can't explain that, but I had it in my eyeballs. I was literally pushing on my eyes to try to make it stop. Like, it was that bad. I'm not saying OBC's not a pussy. He doesn't call out of work for crap like that. It's just that I did a meeting with one eye open like this. Luckily I wasn't presenting, but no, I am recovering from heavy allergies today. Well, we're keeping the throat moist.
You have to keep the throat moist. When those allergies hit, though, man, they suck. Like, I know you've had them on a few episodes. I mean, I have some bad allergies myself sometimes. Luckily, I haven't had them bad yet, but like I'm sure it's gonna come. But yeah, these temperature swings, man, they need to go away because like I'm so confused. Like I don't know what to do because like one day I'm walking outside in shorts and like a hoodie. The next day I'm in a parka. The next day I'm back in shorts and a hoodie. The next day I'm like, is this sweatpants weather? Is it sweatshirt weather?
You ain't
I
kidding.
mean, is it gonna snow? I don't know.
It did. It literally was 78 degrees last Tuesday. 3 days later, it was snowing. Then it was a decent weekend, probably in the 50, 60 range. And then literally this morning when I took the dog out, it was 29 and I had a parka on. Like, what the fuck,
Yep.
man? I am
Can I
done.
put my
I want
snowblower
spring.
away yet?
No. When they said 6 more weeks of winter, they weren't kidding. This is
Oh,
ridiculous.
you stupid Punxsutawney Phil.
He's in your
Damn
state, man. I
groundhog.
blame you. I blame DJ. He's in your state. Take
Listen,
care of it.
I wish I could. Believe me, I'd take care of that little groundhog because I got a groundhog problem. Well, I had a groundhog problem at my house. There's no more groundhog problem. They have been eradicated.
Eliminated.
Been eradicated.
Oh my
Get
God.
rid of them. But you said you're keeping your throat moist. What are we keeping the throat moist with?
We are keeping the throat moist with the last of the bullet bourbon with, as you know, and I know you're going to smile, a very little bit of Diet Coke.
Very little, like the very little, because Craig brought it down with without the Diet Coke in it, and I was like, God damn, like, is there room for Diet Coke in there or no?
Let's just say that the drink may get darker as the episode goes.
That's fine. The drinks are gonna get darker. Your blackout's gonna get darker too, because you're just gonna be.
Well, hey, when you're full of chips, you keep the drink in and you keep going. It keeps you warm. It keeps you motivated. It makes you play better. Hey,
Yes, it
that's
does.
what we want. Want to play
You
better
see,
at the table.
we for the folks at home who don't know, we're going to Atlantic City soon, and we're gonna be recording an episode there. And Craig, is DJ gonna break his own rule of no drinking before playing?
You know what? It's very possible, depending on the time of day that we record. So
It's very, very possible. We'll see what happens. We'll see what
I can
happens.
guarantee you that we will not be recording until after a coffee run. So
Oh yes, coffee will be in full effect. Definitely coffee session in us. Maybe a few other sessions. We'll have to see.
maybe.
Maybe.
Can't wait.
Maybe.
Can't wait. I always get psyched up for this. I love seeing all you guys. I love spending time with you all at the tables and at all the different breakfast, dinner, whatever. I have yet to be part of like a nighttime lounge thing at when y'all go to somebody's room and there may be shots or something, but maybe I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe, I don't
There's a lot
know.
of 7 stars up there on the AC crew now. So
There are a lot of 7 stars. Maybe someone will have a suite. Speaking of suites, though,
oh yes, we have to
oh,
get to this.
DGen over here. Hold the phone, ladies and gents. All right. DGen is spoiled now, and people are gonna be like, I've had a suite before. It wasn't that good. Shut your poor mouth. All right. Shut up. So me and the wife go to last weekend, we went down to Caesars. In Atlantic City, and I wasn't really playing much. All right. So before anybody who hears this texts me and goes, why didn't you tell me you were here? I didn't play much. I did play, but not craps. I played literally blackjack at 2 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. That's when I played. Right. So
Nice.
don't come at me that I didn't text you that I was down there. Because I don't think you would have wanted to be where I was. Anyway, I'm checking in at Caesars, right? And Craig, you never want to hear these words out of somebody's mouth when you're checking in. The first thing that was told to me was, I have good news and I have bad news. I'm like, I'm
What the
checking into your
fuck?
hotel. I don't want to hear bad news, to be honest with you. Like, what are we going with bad news? DGen always requests non-smoking rooms, right? Whether I book it, whether my host books it, whoever books it,
Mhm.
non-smoking rooms is all I book, right? What do you know what the bad news was? They had none left. I'm like, all right, so, I made this reservation. You knew that I made the reservation for a non-smoking room. You only have smoking rooms. Guy goes, but we do have a suite available. And I'm like, thinking in my head, I'm like, fantastic. An even bigger space that I can just smell smoke in and not be happy in. He goes, well, the even better news is that no one stayed in there for a few weeks. I'm like, all right, send me up there and let's see what it looks like. Well, Trey got the first phone call because I had to show Craig the suite. And God, those things are nice.
You never saw somebody so excited to FaceTime someone else and show the room. I mean, it was extensive, even for a suite. I was like, "Damn, DGen."
Yeah. Like I've stayed in, now I'm not saying I haven't stayed in a suite before. I've stayed in suites before. Like even at Harris, I've been in a suite. Um, and like at other properties and stuff. Like when I was in Vegas, I had a suite one time, but like
Mhm.
maybe they were junior suites or I don't know what they were. But this suite, holy shit. I mean, it had a whole dance party in the living room, not to mention the bedroom. There was like 6 couches. I could take my pick. Which couch do I want to sit on today? Where should I tie my shoes today? Couch A, couch B? Do I want to look out the window? Do I want to sit by the mini bar? Like, where do I want to tie my shoes today? It's quite nice.
Or it's like if you made the wife mad, you get 6 choices of a couch to sleep on since you get kicked out of the bedroom.
She could not be mad at that suite. She literally calls her mom and was like, I like traveling with him. I'm like, yeah, no shit, you do.
It's one of those things
Well,
like try
no,
it
yeah,
again. Like, next week, just say, last time I was here, y'all gave me a suite. Let's just seeing if there were any suites available still.
literally. I mean, I don't
Hook
know
a
if I can
DGen
stay
up.
in a regular room now.
Got
Like,
a hook. Yeah.
I'm kidding. I can stay in a regular room. I will say though, the suite would have been beautiful for a podcast recording. I mean, so much room for activities, so much room for computers and cameras and everything. I mean, we could have like 10 different angles on us.
Hey, you never know. We might go to Harrah's and say, look, we're a pretty well-known podcast on YouTube. If you have a suite we could just do a recording in, we'll only be like 45 minutes.
Hey,
See what
we'll
they
have to
say.
see what happens. We'll have to see what happens. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they'll be kind to me when I check in this time. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll find out.
Yep. Yep. Because I had the opposite last August because I left early because the customer service was horrible. They moved me in rooms, which was horrible. None of the rooms were nice. The second room smelled like dog, half smoke. So nah.
Nice.
No, what you were showing on the camera was absolutely amazing looking.
Yeah, it was. It was quite nice. There was 2 bathrooms in there. It was like bathroom for somebody else and bathroom for me. But granted, the small bathroom in the hallway was mine, and the wife had the massive bathroom so she could do her hair, makeup, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, us DJs, we travel small with little packs.
Oh yeah,
We don't have to spread it out amongst the large counter.
I mean, I might be the worst person for that because I'd probably bring more than the average. Actually, I bring probably more than most guys do. But
Hey, I will take
it's
the
okay.
small room with all the amenities, including the free shampoo and the body wash, all of it.
There you go. Oh
But don't
yes.
touch that Fiji water, goddammit. That thing's gonna cost you
No.
$20.
Unless you're at Caesars, they just give them out. I'm
Oh,
curious why. Like, I really want to know why. So, at, like Harris and Trop, you got to be 7-star to get your Fiji water. They just hand them out like they're. I mean, now granted, I guess it depends on the time of day because DGen is a DGen obviously, and went to bed at like 3 a.m. Was at the table at 7, playing some
excellent,
blackjack 7 o'clock in the morning. It was great,
excellent. Hey,
great
were you the
session.
only? You were the only one at the table.
I was. I actually waited for the table to clear so I could be the only one. I got
There you
down
go.
there. There was like four guys who had not a clue. Blackjack, not a clue what they were doing. So I just sat back. They're like, "You want to come in?" I'm like, "No, no, wait till the end of the shoe. Good etiquette and all." They're like, "No,
Right.
no, come in now, come in now." I'm like, "I'm all right. I'll wait till the end of the shoe, thanks." And well, by the end of the shoe, they didn't even make it to the end of the shoe. They had lost all their money. But there was virtually no cards left. Like the cut card was right near the end. And I asked the dealer, I said, "Can we get a new shoe?" And she was like, "We're not really supposed to because you got to finish out the shoe." I was like, there's a hand left."
Right.
And she, motions over to the pit. Pit comes over, and as he comes over, he's checking me into the computer, and she goes, "Can we just shuffle this?" And he takes a look and he goes, "Yeah, yeah, reshuffle, get a new shoe." I was like, "Perfect, thank
Customer
you."
service. Customer service.
Customer service. Won everything back that I lost the night before plus some. Twas bueno.
But that's not what we're talking about tonight.
Tis not.
No, no, we're talking about when your wallet calls and says they want a new owner. So what we're going to talk about is your money and your bets need couples therapy. How do you
They
play?
do.
How do you play? Which is better? Which is better when you're gambling? How do you play? What's the best bets to play? And I think we've come down that there are really three ways to play the game if you're not playing dark. If you're playing light side, there's only like 3 ways to play the game. You either go simple, 6 and 8. We've seen it all the time. We've seen people go outside, just 4 and 10, right? Because, it is possible for 4 fours to roll in a shoot, right, Chris?
Oh, it's possible, but people won't admit it.
No, you're right. You can either go across, you can go inside. I consider those similar.
Uh-huh.
Because you're branching out to multiple numbers, or you can just say fuck it and go to the prop section and have a day. But you got to have a bankroll to have a day. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
So,
yeah.
so
You gotta have a
Chris,
big
in your
bankroll.
opinion, which is better when gambling? Betting simple, betting all boxes, or prop bonus betting?
So I actually have them ranked. Okay.
Oh, okay, all right.
I have them ranked. It's like a top 5, but top 3. Um, Number 1, your best option is the simple stuff.
Yeah,
Betting simple, right? Whether it is your inside bet, even though you may consider that betting across, betting 2 numbers. They could be a 6 and 8, could be a 5 and 9, 4 and 10, 5 and 6. I don't care what 2 numbers you pick. Or if you're just maybe playing like pass wild odds, something like that. Like to me, that's number 1, right? That's your best option to play for most people, right? Option number 2 would be the betting across, covering all your box numbers, all that kind of stuff. And then option 3, which would be like put a gun to my head type option, is just start spraying and praying in the prop area.
spraying
Right?
and
That would
praying.
be like option 3. I don't want to be here anymore. I can't wait to just light money on fire. Let me go in the prop section. Unless we watch your videos and you teach us how to bet smart in the prop section.
Bet smart in the prop section. Hey, the reason I'm doing those videos, and the second one just dropped today, is because everybody wants to be part of the action. Nobody wants to
Mm-hmm.
sit by and maybe play simple and have just a 6 and 8 or just 2 numbers and then sit idly by while fives and you're betting the 6 8 and 5s and 9s are rolling and 4s and 10s are rolling and craps numbers are rolling. You're like, I'm over here cheesing wind over here and I'm not winning anything during this. So the reason I came up with those videos is because here's a way to segment or allocate your bankroll in a way that you can play the boxes. you can play the prop bets how you want, whether it's hard ways, whether it's bonus, whether it's hop betting, whether it's horn betting, and still have action in a different way, but a safer
Mm-hmm.
way to where you're not bleeding your bankroll. But I
Right.
think you're absolutely right with your rankings though. But you have to ask yourself, why are you there? Are you there to? Are you obviously, you'd probably ask 10 people, all 10 people are gonna be like, I'm here to win money. Yeah, we get it. But why are you there? Are you there to make money? Are you there to have fun? Are you there to socialize? Because if you're there to socialize and just be entertained, by all means, just play the prop section. Do whatever you want
Mm-hmm.
there because you're going for that thrill. Whereas you and I think we're hoping for that marathon,
Yep.
and we want to be there a while. So I think we would be middle of the road. So it wouldn't just be a 6-8. It'd probably be inside bets. Maybe it'd be a cross for 2 hits, come down to inside, or maybe even regress all the way down to just the 6 and 8, and then occasionally grab prop bets, but with winnings, right? Um, I think there's
100%.
there. You're right. There are like 3 different levels, and again, we're not talking about dark side betting. I actually think that there are different levels to dark side betting. Because I think if you're talking about dark side betting, I think you also have to throw in as a distant cousin hybrid because you're
Mm-hmm.
playing both
Yeah.
sides, but you might be playing a reduced both sides. But when we're talking light side betting, I think you're right. There's only like there's really 3 ways, but there's combinations of everything, which makes it interesting. So you could have a 6-8 and play the bonus. You could have a 6-8 and play the hard ways. But
Mm-hmm.
like, what I love about some of your videos you've been doing recently is you're doing the 6-8, you get 1 hit, and with the winnings, you're placing the hard ways. You're starting to grab the hard ways. Just like people start grabbing the numbers to go further, 5 and 9, 4 and 10, grab the hard ways. Maybe you have a little bit left over. You're like, fuck it. Let's do a horn high bet. We got $5 left. Let's do a horn high bet.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all about levels. Like if you're really going in there for a 6-8, you're probably either new, scared, or you're actually a disciplined player and you're doing it for a reason, right?
Yep.
But people
100%.
love it. The 6 and 8 hit the most besides a 7. You're not spending a lot of stuff. You're not spreading yourself thin, and you can press, regress, stay flat bet without any emotional whiplash, right? I
Yeah.
think that is like your number one. That's your safest. And it's best for players who want to feel like they're in control. Because it doesn't matter what you do, you're not in control. The casino's in control. The dice are in control. The drinks,
Yeah.
the drink lady walking by, they're all in control. You have to control your
Mm-hmm.
emotions, right? But players who want to feel like they're in control will play simple. Players who hate watching their money burn quick or die with cold tables are playing simple. And then anyone who wants to just feel like they're playing smart will play simple, right? But
Yeah.
there's an upside and a downside to that. The upside is you're saving your bankroll, right? If you're just playing a 6 and 8, you're there for the long haul. You're trying to be there for, and maybe you are. Maybe it's a tier multiplier, and you're trying to set yourself up for time. You want to have time at the table, right? Because that's important. That's what's important for average bet because it's based on 1 hour and what's your average bet per hour. But the downside obviously is you'll never have that I hit everything moment. You'll never have that.
Mm-hmm.
You'll never have that high unless you got your 6-8 up to 300 a piece and it hits for 350. Yeah, that's a freaking high, I would say. But you're not going to get that high that horn high better just made when they hit midnight or aces. They're hooting and hollering, which gets the whole table going, and everybody's throwing in, to the stick and throwing in prop bets and shit. But the other downside is it's slower growth because you're probably not pressing aggressively on a simple 6 and 8 bet, right? Um,
Yeah.
you know, your second tier, yeah, I think you were spot on with betting across because betting across means you don't just want the simple 6 and 8 action. You want more action. You want to, besides craps numbers, that other numbers are going to hit in that sequence of numbers, and you're hoping that if it is a long roll, that there are lots of numbers hitting out of your across bets. But as we've always said, you got to read the table. If you're having a cross bets and you know that the 5 and 9 just aren't hitting, take them down to minimum. Let the other ones press aggressively. If they're hitting, you get a string of, like, you've been on rolls, Chris, where you have 15 numbers hit Out of the 15, 12 of them were boxes. Out of those boxes, 6 of them were 8s. Eight of them were 9s. Okay, well, what are you doing with the other numbers? Why are you pressing them? Why are you pressing sister numbers? You're thinning out your press, which if there's a dominant number hitting, you want to take advantage of that dominant number hitting. But that's the thing. You want action. It kind of gives you action on every roll. Obviously, if a craps number rolls or the yo or any of the craps numbers, yeah, you're not getting paid on that one. But unless there's a string of them, you're probably going to get paid on every roll, right? You may even throw a hotbed in there, just an occasional. Again, all of these different ways of playing have variations because they include occasional field bets. We're not telling you, okay, well, you're doing a 6 and 8. Well, if you want more coverage, you do the field every. No, you don't do the field every fucking roll. You're gonna bleed out. But the occasional field, when you see a number hit, and you're like, you know what? I'm feeling like a field's gonna hit, but it's not every roll. It's just an occasional. Let's see what happens. But when you're doing, let's see what happens, you're expecting that you're probably gonna lose it. But hey, if it hits, better for me. I might be able to pick up the 5 and 9 for free. Right.
Exactly.
And that's what I think for the across betters, because it's players who want action every roll. It's players who love pressing and building stacks on a repeated number. If you can do that, if you're fortunate enough to be on a roll that has 6 8s rolled or 8 8s. I haven't really been on a table that's had that many numbers on one number, but the fact that the repeater bet needs 6 6s and 6 8s, it happens, right? And then, obviously the downside is cold tables. How many times have you ever gone across and a PSO happened? You're like, there goes
Every time, it
160.
seems.
There, there goes 160. There goes 160. What about those people who go 640 across? There goes 640. Now I'm automatically in recovery, and it took one roll to lose it, right? But it requires a bigger bankroll. That's the thing. These 3 different ways you're talking about playing require all different kinds of bankrolls. I think the simple 6 and 8 probably has a bankroll of $300 to $600, right? Because you can play simple. You could probably even go with 300 to 400 because you're really only playing 2 numbers, and you're probably using winnings to press. But it's when you get to that prop bets and the bonus bet, and let's face it, if you want to play the bonus bet nowadays, you got to play a pass line too, even if you're not the shooter. And if you're my local who can go fuck themselves, they require action. If you're the person who's going to shoot next, you have to have action on your roll of minimum table action if you want to have the dice. How much bullshit is that?
It's a lot of bullshit.
But if you're playing the bonus, a lot of times they make you play a pass line, even if you're not the shooter. But the prop bet, I mean, obviously, if you're doing that, it's the high risk, high reward. It's for entertainment. It's for instant gratification. You're feeling like the lottery tickets on the felt. But it's best for entertainment. That's get that out there and write that down. The prop section is best for entertainment. It is not there to be part of your strategy, which we know all strategies are bullshit anyway. But it's also for short sessions. Hey, if you're going down there and I'm sure you do this too, Chris. If you're going down there, like you're in your hotel room and you're like, when are we going to dinner? Oh, 7 o'clock? And you're like, it's only 5 o'clock. I'm going to go down to the table for like 15 minutes. And you're like, boom, let me hit the prop section and bonus for 15 minutes. I'm sure a horn number rolls in 15 minutes, most times, maybe. I don't know. But because I guarantee you, if you have 15 straight minutes of shooting and all you're hitting is box numbers, people are going to be pressing like crazy,
Oh, yeah.
But obviously, what's the downside to prop bet and bonus? We know what it is. It's the worst house edge, right? Your bankroll evaporates very quickly. And as Chris likes to say, you take your car and you drive into emotional tilt city. You're like, how fast can I burn this as much as my gasoline? I'm going to burn my bankroll. Hey, does anybody have a lighter? I want to light this on fire. I mean, that's what it is. But what's better? I don't know. It's really going to depend on why you're there, what you want to play, how much is your buy-in. I think that's what it is. I mean, what do you think? What's better if you had to choose?
So no, you made a couple of really, really good points. And I think my favorite point that you made out of all of that was just because you're playing one of these ways doesn't mean you can't do something different or like add in some facets of the other plays, right? You're not going to see me keeping my 6 and 8 going on a long roll without getting on other numbers. Yes, I will place other numbers. I may end up across, right? I'll throw some hard ways in there. I may throw some horn action. Who knows what I'm going to do? But I'm going to go and attack the table from the start with the simple method, right? Because I personally think that's the best way to play, unless you have the bankroll that you can play all the way across, right? Option 3 with the prop section, I mean, just donate the money to DGen. It'll work out better for you, I promise. Like, it'll work out better for you, especially long term, because you're gonna burn so much money. Because the first time you do it, you're probably gonna win, and you're gonna be like, "Oh, this game is so easy," and then you're gonna burn, I don't know how many car payments after that, because you just can't stay away from the props. To me, betting simple, right? That's option number 1. That's what a lot of people should do, right? Why? You mentioned it. Lower house edges, right? Very, very easy to manage a bankroll when you're betting that way, right? There's not going to be massive swings in your bankroll. It's just very, very easy to control it. And you have less emotions, right? Because you're betting within that bankroll. You went in with a plan. You know what you're going to do, right? We talk about it on, I don't know how many episodes, managing your emotions, right? The final thing with the simple one to me too is you can scale it so easily, right? If you're playing a 6 and an 8, Craig might be playing it at $18 each. I might be playing $30. Somebody else might be playing $60, right? You're like, well, if you're playing $60, why don't you go all the way across? Well, because all the way across is going to pay him like $35 on a hit. Meanwhile, $60 6 and 8 is going to pay him $70 a hit. And that's what they want. All right. Ultimately, for me, the simple option comes down to you're trying to stay at the table longer, you're trying to stay disciplined, and you actually have an intentional goal of walking away winning money, right? Like, you're setting yourself up with the goal to actually win. I'm not saying the other ways aren't going to allow you to win, but you're trying to be there for a longer period of time. You're trying to stay disciplined, and you're trying to know, all right, I'm up, I'm going to walk away, or I'm going to stop playing, or I'm going to go take a break, right? The across getting everything, you mentioned it, right? There's nothing wrong with throwing a field in every once in a while, right? We do it all the time. You see a horn, some people, there's a whole old saying, see a horn, bet a horn, right? I'm not a fan of that one personally. I see a horn, maybe I'll bet the field, right? Especially if someone I know is throwing. Okay. There's quite a few people that I know who like to follow up horns after horns, right? No problem betting the field. Because, yeah, you might get a free 5 or 9 out of it, right? Like Craig said, you might be able to grab some extra numbers because you had that little extra bonus in the field, right? You may mix in a couple props. You may do anything like that. Why? Because you have basically everything covered, right? You feel like you're winning on just about every roll, minus maybe the horns, unless you're, going to mix that in on that play. But the thing
Right.
is, you have more action, which may lead to more excitement, but it could also lead to the flip side of that, which is more despair when you're losing, because if you don't have the bankroll to fund that, it can go pretty quickly. And if you're not getting long enough rolls, you're not going to be able to get your money off the table quick enough, right? Because a lot of people like to say, I have more targets to hit. Yeah, you got more targets to hit, right? Your target is a lot bigger than my target, but your target's a lot more expensive than my target is, right? So you go 160 across, right? We all know you need 4 hits to cover it. Or actually 5 hits to cover it, technically, unless you get 4s and 10s in there.
Yeah.
You need 5 hits. Betting an $18 6 and 8 or a $30 6 and 8, you need 2. Now, yes, you have a lot more combinations of numbers to possibly hit, but I can tell you, losing $60 on a PSO is a lot better than losing 160 on a PSO.
Let me ask you a
Yeah.
question because here's I think what we're confirming from just discussing and talking it out is that it's not about better. It's about what kind of night do you want to have? What kind of session
Mm-hmm.
are you looking to have or walk into? You made some really good points, and I think one of the things I really admire about the way you play and that I have tried to learn as well is that yeah, you like to play the world bet on a come out. So you've built that into your buy-in. You're
Mm-hmm.
not just
Yep.
taking a buy-in that's built for box numbers only and pulling from that and grabbing your money for the world bet and your bonus. You're building those things knowing that it's $15 minimum for 555 for the for the bonus, and then you're playing your $5 world bet to start off with. It increases, but it increases with winnings. So that's $20 right there. Plus, you probably have to play the pass line, which is 15. So 15, 15, 30, $35 is your come out game. You know, you like to kind of probably play it on everybody who, especially in the crew, who's at the table who you know can shoot. If it's somebody you don't know at all, you may play the bonus and have to play the pass line, but you may not play the world bet. I don't know. But you may play it because it's a push on a 7. So you've already factored in $35 per shooter into that buy-in. And you know that the rest of it, and you probably keep it separate in your rail, is for the boxes. Maybe it's also for the boxes and for if you happen to want to do odds behind the pass line when you're the shooter, you know. But that's something that I'm starting to learn too, is that if I'm buying in for 600, I need to tell myself that stack of reds is for the prop section and the bonus. And when that's gone, it's gone. How do I replenish it? I have to be winning on the boxes. I don't really think it's a thing about which is better to play, because you can't argue against somebody who flops down $2,000 and just plays the horn all night. You know, horn numbers are going to roll. They're eventually going to hit one, and it's probably going to pay for all the losses up until that point because they have a larger bankroll.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, defining better, right? Now, you and I, and especially in this scenario, right, we're talking about long-term type of play, right? We're playing for a while. Now, I'm not going to sit here and debate anybody that betting just a 6 and an 8 when you're looking for 1 or 2 hits on any number that you don't care about and you're leaving the casino is going to be better than going across. Hell no. If you're looking for 2 hits and you're done, bet across. That's what I would do, right? Maximize those targets as much as possible. But the definition of better depends on the situation that you find yourself in. Right now, for most people, they're finding themselves in a situation where they're going to be playing for a little bit of time. So I feel that the simple way of betting is better, progressing, growing out. Again, nothing wrong with getting to a cross or throwing the occasional prop bet or anything like that out there. Nothing wrong with that. But if your goal is to get in the casino and get out as quick as possible and you're only looking for maybe a couple hits, then yeah, you got to go across. Why? Because your definition of success in that moment is a lot different than a definition of success for someone who stayed at the table for 5 hours.
absolutely.
Right? And if you're going for 3 hits, you've already accepted you're going in with a plan, right? I'm going to go, let's say it's 640 across for 3 hits. Okay. You're willing to risk that 340, but you're not staying at the table for 5 hours betting 640 across.
Absolutely.
Right? And if you have the bankroll to do that, good for you. No problem with that. You do you. Right? But if you're going to buy in on a table for 600, I'm going to use 640 as an example in this one again.
Sure.
If you buy in to a craps table for $640 and you plan on staying at the table for 3 hours and you go 640 across, terrible bankroll management. You'll probably be out of there within a few minutes anyway. Right? But if you go into the casino where I want to win $200 today, that's my goal. And you go 640 across for 1 shooter, you take your 2 hits, sayonara, I'll see you tomorrow. No problem with that. That makes sense to me. In that instance, I wouldn't be betting on just the 6 and an 8. Why? Because my goal is to be off that table as quick as possible, which in turn in my head tells me I have to risk going across to get off that table quicker. Because I know, and a lot of people who are listening, I'm sure know, the longer you sit there, the worse your odds are going to be.
It's where that's where you've planned that. You planned that you wanted to get in, get out, and walk away with profit. So you knew going in, you were going to have to risk a little bit more than you probably usually would, because your goal was not to be there a long time. Your goal was to hit something and get right out. So I think you're getting right into our second topic about proper bankroll and buying at the table, because I think the real answer is your bankroll has to match your strategy, not the table. You know, most players do this. Most players do this backwards. They walk up with whatever cash they have and they force a strategy to fit it. But the pros do it differently. The people that have been playing this game for 20, 30 years do it differently. They pick their strategy. And we're not talking about, when we say strategy, we're not talking about playing a strategy like 66 inside, 2 hits, and we're not talking about that kind of strategy. We're talking about your strategy of your plan when you go to the casino. What was your
How are you going to
what were
attack
you
the
think?
session?
Right? How are you going to attack the session? That was one of our earliest podcasts, I think, episodes, wasn't it? How are you going to
Yeah.
attack the casino? But
Mm-hmm.
that, people that have been playing this game a long time do it differently. They pick the way they want to play, then they size their bankroll to it, and
Yep.
they have to make sure that it has enough to support cold tables.
Yep.
You have to have that built into your bankroll. So if I'm bringing $600, like we said, you probably only need $300 to $400 to play the 6 and 8. So if I have $600, I know I have $100 to play the prop section. I have $300 to $400 to play the 6 8 because I want to play multiple shooters, and I have that extra 100 in case something goes well or in case I have to start recovery,
Yeah.
right? Because or that not just the prop section 100, but maybe there's another stack 100 that's for come out game. We've talked about come out game. Some people have it, some people don't. Some people are just like you and I are just automatic. Everybody who knows DGen, everybody who knows OBC, when we're at the casino knows that a world bet is going to be played along with the bonus and the pass line. It's just facts. Now,
Yep.
I think the difference between me and you is you won't play the pass line all the time if you're not the shooter. I tend to play it more often than you do, I think,
Yeah. You
when it
do.
comes to every shooter. Because what am I doing? I've planned that I'm looking for that come out 7 because I
Mm-hmm.
want to win on the pass line to press my world bet.
Yeah.
So sometimes when I play the bonus, I want my pass line to be like $5, 1 unit more so that I win just that extra unit so I can either press the world bet or if I have to press the pass line, I have to press the pass line. But it's built into your bankroll and it's built into your buy-in. And I think,
Yep.
I think we're going to get into what is the proper bankroll or the proper buy-in for your session at the craps table in regards to the 3 ways we described about going into the session. Whether you're a 6
Yep.
8 player, a conservative player, and a cross better, or if you're just there for pure entertainment and you're going for the prop section.
Yeah. Yep. I'm going to preface it, as we always say, don't buy in with more than you can afford to lose, right? This has to be fun money. Can't be money that you
100%.
need to pay bills, whatever it may be. But in terms of bankroll, right? For me, there's like 3 different levels of bankroll, let's say, where people fall into, right? So you have what you may call a conservative player, right? To me, that's maybe 20 times your base bet, right? So again, if you're going to buy in, you're playing just the 6 and 8, forget the bonus bets, forget anything else, right? You're playing just the $18 6 and 8, $36. You're buying in for 640. You may think, I'm not that conservative. You bought in for 20 times your base bet. That's what you
Right.
did, right? Or if you buy in for 600, that's 19 times basically the same thing, right? Then you have where I think most people fall into, which is 10 to 15 times their base bet, with more people probably in the 10 to 12 range, right? And those are the people that are also there, the fun. They're there for a while though, right? They should be able to stay there for a while. They're looking at some place bets, things like that. Maybe working in your line bets, including your bonus bet, other stuff, right? I take that same example. Okay. You take the person who bought in for 640. Now you buy in for 640 again, but you're gonna have the $35 of come out action plus your $35 or $36 on your 6 and 8. Boom, there you go. You bought in for 10 times what your action is. Right. And I think a lot of people get this confused
Yeah.
because people are like, do I actually buy in? Like, all right, I'm going to play 6 inside. I need $660. Are you
Right.
factoring in your line bet, your bonus bet, that world bet, other stuff like that? No, you're not, right? And I'll be the first one to admit it. I'm falling into this category right here, right? I'm falling into the 10 to 15-ish, closer to 10 though. Why? I'll get into that in a little bit. Okay.
Yeah.
Then my third and final person is, the person who's buying in with less than a 10x their whatever their base play is. Okay. They're buying in for anywhere from, 5 to maybe 7 times whatever their initial outlay is. And these are the people who are likely to bust very, very early. Why? Well, you're overextending the bankroll you have, because these
Right.
people, more often than not, don't even realize that they should be way better funded than they actually are. right? This is the person who's going to go 330 inside, buying in for $600, right? Or they'll buy in for 640 and go 330 inside, right? You're spending 50% of your buy-in on your first action, not to mention any come out action or anything like that, right? So I break it down in my head those three ways, right? You got the people who are at like the 20% or 20x, the 10x, and then anything less than 10x. But typically, when you're talking less than 10x, you're at like 5x or less than that, right? And I said I sit in that 10x range. And the reason why I sit in that 10x range is not because I can't afford to go to 20x, right? I certainly could. If I had the intention of going and playing 66 inside, sure, I could go buy in for $1,300, right? Not a problem. My thing is, I shouldn't need that kind of money, right? I'm not going to sit at the table long enough to burn through 18 of those 20 shooters. I don't care if number 19 or 20 is going to be an hour and a half long roll. I don't care, right? You're not going to see me get punched 18 times in the face to hope number 19 is what's going to get me over the hump and get me back to even. Not going to be like that, right? So that's why I'm usually in that 10 times range, somewhere around that, because I know that if what I'm doing is working, I'll be up one time around the table. If what I'm doing isn't working, I'll be down one time around the table, and we'll see how I'm doing in relation. Am I up a little bit? Am I down a little bit? Right? We'll go at it again. If I'm getting whacked and we haven't made it around the table once, you already know I'm coloring up. Because I'm not going to sit there and keep getting it.
And I got 3 quick points, and there's an excellent what you just said. I couldn't agree more. One of the things is, and you may have seen this before, is when people factor in what they're going to play. Let's say that they have factored in pass line, right? Have they factored in odds? Because most tables are 3, 4, 5 times odds. But what if you get to a casino that we know has 10 times odds, and you're like, well, I want to play that one. It's 10 times odds. Well, then your bankroll or your buy-in has to factor in 10 times odds versus 3, 4, 5 times odds. And nobody does that. I would guarantee that probably nobody does that. Nobody factors in that kind of thing if you're a pass line with odds player. Not everybody is a pass line with odds player. Why?
You know why they don't factor it in? Because they go into this assuming they're going to be winning those odds bets. So they don't need to factor in the, extra 9 shooters. They anticipate winning. Now, they're not wrong to anticipate winning that bet, more regularly, let's say, than some other bets on the table. But if you have 10 shooters and none of them makes a point, you have to have a lot of money. So you made a really good point there, because a lot of people don't factor in odds at all.
Here's a mini point, a mini tip of the episode, a mini tip. Can you have a mini tip? Because the tip's pretty mini. This is a mini tip.
Whoa. That's what she said. Hold the phone.
If you're playing pass line with odds, whether they're max odds, whatever, a PSO happens 33% of the time, right? But a buckshot happens even less than a PSO. Why not hold off on your odds on your pass line more often for one roll to get past the PSO roll? I've always wondered that. Like, people automatically put down their odds, and God forbid, the dealer's in a sticker like, where are your odds? Where are your odds? I would love to be at that point where I'm like, motherfucker, I'm going to wait for the PSO roll that may happen, because it happens a lot. And just because we say 33% of the time doesn't mean it's 33% of that session.
Correct.
You could be in that variance where it's 4 PSOs. But if you had waited one roll, you would have saved yourself wasting your odds and burning through your odds, especially if it's a 10 times table, which we know you didn't factor into your bankroll.
No. On the flip side of that, though, Ed from Roll to Win, I really like what he says about the odds, right? Where if you are going to put the odds and you give a shooter, let's say 4 or 5 tosses, they don't hit that point, you may consider actually pulling some of your odds down.
No,
right?
I love that.
So,
I love that about him, because he said that on his channel before about he doesn't just pull them down. He starts reducing them over time.
Yep.
Based on the person not throwing that point. And
exactly.
Until maybe you just have, because everybody's going to leave. If you have a minimum bet on the pass line, like 15, and you get down to 15 odds, $15 total on your odds, nobody gives a shit. They'll just let it ride. But if you
Yeah.
started at 5 times, like it's the 6 and 8, and you started at 75,
Mm-hmm.
reduce it over time, the number of rolls that have been rolled. They haven't hit it. Now, granted,
Yeah.
every once in a while, sure, they're going to hit the 8 and you're going to pay it on your max odds. Maybe it happened on roll 4. Maybe it happened on roll 10. Are you going to take that risk all the time? Every shooter?
Yeah.
Because you're just going to burn it. You're just going to burn it. Why not reduce it? And if you reduce it, you can take a smaller amount and hop it. If you think that I don't want to be there when it doesn't hit on that roll, then hop the fucker if they have hop bets. Because you
Mhm.
can hop it for $1,
Yeah.
$2, $3, whatever. That $3 is still less than the 45 you have on a 4 and 10 with a $15 pass line. But I don't think people like think of everything about a game. Some people literally just walk in, throw down money, and they're like, fuck it. Let's see if this burns or if this pays me. But
Yes.
then why are you getting upset when it doesn't pay you? You literally
It's a
went
good
in to
question.
see, is it going to pay me or is it going to fuck me? And it winds up fucking you. And you're like, what? Why are you getting all angry? You had a 50% chance of it either burning you or not burning you. And it happened to be the day where it burned you. I'm sure if you came back next Saturday with the same buy-in and did the same thing, maybe that Saturday is your Saturday. Maybe that's the day that you hit 2 of them. But I don't think people factor in. And the other point I wanted to make is when you were talking about 10 times, of your buy-in for what you want to play. If you're playing blackjack, yes, do we set up our buy-ins based on a 40 to 48 hand shoe? Yes. Do we have to play all 40 to 48 hands? No. If we hit
No.
our goal, because you should have, if we hit our goal at hand number 8, do we color up? Yeah, you color up. You don't play the rest of the shoe. But some people play one, you said it before that you want to play multiple shoes. And I told you that I'm a one shoe guy because I'm very new at this. So,
Mhm.
and like I told you, when I went to the local casino right before New Year's, I played 7 hands and I only came with a $300 bankroll. So I bought in for 300, made 110. After the 7th hand, I'm out. Like I
Yeah.
had a goal. My goal was the 150 for the whole night. I made 110, and then I went over to blackjack, 140, hit my 150. I stopped playing for the night. But people don't do that.
Yeah.
They don't do that.
No.
The conservative player really, I think, is the one who can get away with a lower buy-in because they're playing simple. They probably aren't playing the prop section on the come out. They may be playing pass line with odds plus the 6 and 8 at most, and
Mhm.
they may half press, but they're not going like balls to the wall,
Yeah.
So they don't really need 10 to 15 times worth of ammo, right?
No.
The $300 buy-in gives them room to breathe and 6 shots at it if they're playing, 36 and 8.
Yeah.
But they're also probably not just getting the hit on the 36 and 8 and then immediately pressing. They might throw down $1, regress down to 18, and now they're only invested $1. Like that's the smarter way to play a 6-8.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I think when you're talking about simple and you're bankrolling it, you're talking about playing smart, staying alive, and just letting the table come to you. Granted, if you're playing 6 and 8 and 6s and 8s are the ones hitting, well, God damn it, it's your night. It's your night. And
It's your night.
God willing, you press that 6 and 8 when it's hitting and taking back a
Gotta
little
press.
because your payday is going to be there when it hits that 5th or 6th, 6 or 8, and you finally had it up to 210 and it hits. You're like, fuck yeah. And then just take it all down, go to the cage, be up for the night, go have a drink, have a steak. You did it. You came to the casino and you did what you planned to do. But most people don't plan, Chris.
They don't. They don't plan. You know why their wallet stays empty? It's because they don't plan.
Right.
Speaking of wallets
100%.
staying empty, speaking of it, is it time, Craig, for our top 5?
I think it's time. I love a good top 5.
All right, time for the top 5. And today's top 5 segues perfectly because our top 5 is the top 5 reasons your wallet stays empty in the casino. Oh, man. Craig, I had
100%.
so many. I had so many for this one, I'll be honest with you. Do you mind if I lead off with an
No,
honorable
I would
mention?
love for you to lead off because literally you're correct that we had I could have had 8 to 10 and I had to pare it down
Yes.
to just 5. And all the 5, I guarantee there's a person out there who fits the mold of every single 5 to 1.
Correct. Correct. My number honorable mention, though. I want to
All
give the
right,
honorable mention first
honorable mention.
because it's a massive quandary that I have with casinos. Your damn parking is too expensive. All right. The reason your wallet stays empty when you're leaving the casino is because you keep paying for parking at multiple casinos because you're hunting for casinos, trying to go here, and there, and trying to. So you spend too much damn money on parking. But it's also part of the casino's problem. So make sure you're either playing at a place or get players cards or whatever it is. You don't have to pay for parking. All right. Because parking, honestly, can really put a dent in your wallet, especially when you're bouncing around from casino to casino. So that's my honorable mention. Do you want to present an honorable mention or should I just get into number
I
5?
actually do because I have one. And my honorable mention is you came into the casino, you bought in properly when the puck was off. Your rail looks nice and fat, and you start making your bets, and all of a sudden you notice you're playing the prop bets. And 2 shooters later, you look down and your 600 is sitting at 225. And you're like, where the fuck did my money go? Maybe those quarter horn high bets you kept doing every single roll are what bled you down to your 225.
Yep.
That's the reason you're going home with an empty wallet.
There you go. All right, now for the actual 5 to 1. My number 5 is you play emotionally and not strategically. You press because you feel it. You place your bets because you feel it. You got some sort of sixth sense, at least you think you do, that something is going to happen. You get scared because you're losing money. You keep changing what you're doing. You can't pick a lane and stay in it. You're emotional, you're inconsistent, and you continue to lose, and you're going to go home with a less full wallet.
I want to dedicate my number 5 to Binions in Vegas because they still owe me $1,200. They have $1,200 of my money, and I want it back. So my number 5 is my number 5 is you bet like the table owes you money. You're not playing the game. You're trying to avenge a past loss. Every decision becomes emotional, not strategic, like DJen just said, and the casino loves that version of you.
Oh, they do. They do. Oh, the casino don't know you shit. Let me tell you, folks. Don't know you anything. All right, number 4 is you don't know when to leave. You stay too long at the casino. The longer you play, the more the house edge will get you. The longer you stay up, the longer you play, and you are up, the more likely you are to give it back. When you're playing and you're down and you continue to play, you're more likely to dig yourself a bigger hole. So time is your enemy. We've said it before. So if you stay at the casino too long, that wallet is going to not be looking full.
I was just gonna say, what's the phrase? And I was gonna hint at my watch. Time is your enemy.
Time is your enemy.
We talked about it. We talked about it when we were talking about biggest losses or something like that. And it's where I got my 460 up to 3,300, but nope, walked away with 1,700. Why? Because I played an hour longer than I should have. When I looked down and saw 3,300, I should have put 3,000 in my pocket and played with the 300. You're right. You're absolutely right. All right. My number 4, you play every game except the one you understand. This one made me laugh. You walked in planning to play craps, but somehow you're at a slot machine, a roulette wheel, a blackjack table you never sat at before. Curiosity is cute, but it's also expensive.
Curiosity can be very costly. Yes, it can.
Very.
All right, my number 3 is something we've talked about a little bit tonight. You love those high payout, high edge, but mathematically brutal bets. No matter if you're playing craps, bonus bets in blackjack, numbers in roulette, your bonuses in baccarat. You like the big payouts. You like the loud reaction you get from other people when you hit one of those bets, and you get that fast rush. Problem is that rush only comes once in a while, and unfortunately for you, it's probably not going to come enough. You sit in that high house edge, low probability zone, and you put all your money there and it's not paying you back.
100%. When I told you, when I first learned how to play craps, the dealer took me aside at the hook and said, just play the 6-8. And I told you I lost that night overall, but I played for 2 hours and I was like, I'm hooked. I love this game.
Mm-hmm.
But across from me at stick right 1 and stick left 1 were 2 friends, and all they were playing, Chris, every roll was a midnight. Every roll was a midnight until the midnight hit. Now, obviously,
Yeah.
the midnight hit at least once during that whole night, but they were playing it every roll.
And you know what their problem is? They needed to hit one every 30 times to break even.
Yeah, facts, right? Facts. All right.
People at home, remember that. When you're going to sit in the prop area, right? Yes, you can sit there and buy in at a craps table for, let's say, $500, right? That'll give you 20 cracks at that number. Yes, you will win money, right? But you needed to hit one every 30 times. Other numbers are less, obviously. Doesn't happen like that.
Well, Chris, they must have seen some of our lives on our channels, because I've gone a whole show without a midnight. I've gone a whole show without a yo.
Just wait till you see the video that's coming out tomorrow.
You were
Amount
telling
of
me about
horns
it.
are ridiculous. Wish I was playing crapless.
There
Anyway,
you go.
Craig, number 3.
All right, number 3. You press when you should regress, and you regress when you should press. Hot shooter, you freeze. Cold table, you get bold. Your timing is upside down, and the casino is happy to keep it that way.
They're very happy to keep it that way. All right, my number 2 is chasing losses like that first ex-girlfriend. Quickest way to go broke. I'll just win it back. I'm going to double this, and I'm going to increase these bets. I'm going to stay at the table just a little bit longer because I'm going to win it back. Guess what? Those losses, they don't care how much you need to win back, and they stack a lot faster when you're trying to chase them.
You fucker. My number 2, you chase the feeling, not the math. You're not betting EV. You're betting for that high. Highs have infinite credit, but your wallet does not.
My number 1 is you play with no plan at all. No bankroll limit, no win goal, no stop loss. Guess what? You just react to what happens. You got not a clue what you're doing or what you're going to do, what you came in there to do. Casino, it's built on structure and foundation. If you don't have one, you're playing the game that they want you to play. You need to have foundation, you need to have structure, you need to have a plan to play your own game. Because if you don't have that, you're playing the casino's game, and they're going to take your money, and you're not going to have it anymore.
Love it. Love it. My number 1, you treat your bankroll like a suggestion, not a boundary. You buy in for 300, but play like you brought 1,000. Limits aren't limits if you ignore them. They're just numbers you pretend to respect.
Very, very true. It's a good top 5 list. I'm actually surprised. I thought we were going to have more overlap than we did. So
It was
kudos
meaty.
to us.
It was meaty.
It was meaty.
Yeah.
It was a good top 5 list. And I think it brings us right in, Craig, to our tip of the episode, because when that wallet is empty, what's the problem?
I think it encapsulates the whole thing, the whole episode, into the tip of the episode. The tip of the episode is your bankroll isn't the problem. You are. You play the strategy your money can actually survive, or the casino will gladly finish the job. 100%.
It will. Oh, it will. And it's funny because I think a lot of people think that, like, oh, I just had a bad night or I was unlucky, right? But they never do that debrief or that little self-reflection and think like, shit, maybe I was the problem, right? And you never want to admit that you were the problem, right? Nobody wants to ever admit that. But a little bit of internal reflection and you'll see that it wasn't the bankroll, it wasn't the bets that you had picked, right? It was just the way you were playing and the way you managed that bankroll. And I'll never, never forget when I was talking to somebody and they were like, oh, if I would have just been betting on the horn, I would have been fine. Well, yeah, if you were betting on the horn. I've played craps with you how many times? You've never bet the horn. So, like, yeah, if I brought, $1,000 to the casino and I knew who was going to go on a heater and I used all 10,000, I'd be a millionaire by now. Like, yeah, that's how life works. Casino don't know you shit.
Well, here's the thing. I don't get embarrassed at the crappiest things that I've done. because I consider it all education and learning. You have to learn the game before you can really win at it, right? So the first like
Yep.
couple of years I was playing, maybe you could even say the first 3.5 years I was playing, um, I was skittish, man. You know, I thought I knew what I was playing. I didn't really have a plan. I wasn't disciplined, and I certainly came to the casino with a buy-in that didn't match what I was trying to play. All
Mm-hmm.
those factor into you're never going to make money.
Nope.
You know, since September was a really important month in 2025 for OBC. I learned a lot of things that just it was like the final straw that that broke the camel's back of I'm tired of losing at this game and I'm tired of doing stupid things. And I think now, you know, I've had 4.5 to 6 months to really hone in on kind of how I want to play every time I go and kind of what I'm willing to spend. And I think because of that, I project that I'm going to be winning more than losing now going forward because I've learned to read the table. I've learned to turn bets off. I've learned to play simple. You know, I'm going to have a bigger buy in next week than I normally do. So for the first time ever, I'm going to try going across once or twice. But I've built that into what I'm bringing. And that's the difference.
Mm-hmm.
I've built it into what I'm bringing. I'm expecting if I lose it, I lose it. It's not going to hurt me. But I want to try something. And I'm bringing the extra buy ins and the extra bankroll to try that. I'm not just trying it on a whim. I'm not just like, you know, a 6-8 better and all of a sudden, fuck it, I'm just going to go across. No, that's how you get in trouble all those years past.
Yep.
I've now built into my bankroll that if I want to try something, I'm giving myself like $200 to try something. If it doesn't work, fuck it. I'll just go back to my simple betting. If it works, great. Somebody's going to have a steak after the session and it's going to be me. So,
There you go. He's gonna have his steak after the session, and Craig's gonna find himself full of chips.
hell yeah.
Oh yes. Oh yes. All right, folks at home, we hope you enjoyed episode 34. If you have any questions or comments or suggestions, feel free to email us, fullofchipspodcast@gmail.com. Full-length versions on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. Short-form content on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. And finally, Patreon link down below. Go check it out. Craig, take us out on episode 34.
I think we said it earlier in the session, maybe in the top 5. If you're buying in for 300 and you're trying to play like you have 1500, you're never going to be full of chips. You're just going to be an asshole at the table.